So I am back. I had my baby and I am doing better now than I was at the beginning, which most people would. The newborn stage just is never, like my first son has never really been my expertise. I feel like I never know what to do or what my baby wants. I mean, obviously I figure it out at the end of the day, I do, but I thank goodness I had midwives this time because without them I probably would not have known what to do, or at least just had the confirmation that everything was okay. This baby was a little bit more reactive, so he cried more is what I mean. So I just always thought there was something wrong, but he's fine and he's gotten so much better, and I guess that's just newborns. So I wanted to talk about my birth story, as well as I'm going to be talking about it while recording me painting this. It's still not finished yet. Just that's an inspiration. I actually started watching The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead, and I kind of got my inspiration for that, which is like kind of gross. But it's a positive skull. She's got flowers and things growing on her, and she's pretty. So that's happening with that. I'll briefly just talk about my birth story, and then I'll really get into it when I record myself over with the painting. So I'll just say that this time I was a totally natural birth. I had no medication, no epidural, nothing. And the reason for that is because I had a bad experience with the epidural. Not everyone has bad experiences, so I can't say that it's not like it wouldn't be a good option for some people, but for me it just didn't work out the first time like I wanted, and I just was almost more scared to have it the second time. So I didn't. I had an all natural birth. I was petrified, but you know, in the end of it, I mean, obviously it's better said after, but I feel like it went really well, and I can't think of any other way I would have wanted to do it. So I had him standing up. I felt like I couldn't move. The pain was so surreal. They say the pain of giving birth is equivalent to breaking like every bone in your body all at once or something crazy, which is crazy. I don't think it's different for everybody, but for me it definitely, I'm not kidding you. When I was pushing in the hospital, this is the only little giveaway. I'll go through the whole story of exactly what happened and everything, but when I was pushing, I felt like right when I knew he was about to come out, I felt like an animal. Like, there's no other way to say it. It's not pleasant. I was terrified, but also relieved because I knew he was coming, so I knew like it was going to be over soon. So I guess that was like an amazing moment, because as much as it was scary and there was a little bit of the unknown because I had never been through this before, it was incredible. And I think I'm so happy I didn't have the medication side to it this time. I understand like most people nowadays, like they don't want to go through the pain, or they're scared about the pain. All I have to say is, if you're a type of person that's been through some stuff, like I have hurt myself so many times, I've almost died, not killed myself, I've almost died numerous times with stupid things that I've done, like falling off a chairlift, a ski lift, or getting totally annihilated by a dog, and I have scars on my face from childhood from that, and just putting myself in dangerous positions. I feel like I have always sort of had a little bit of a higher pain tolerance, but I feel like a lot of the time there's been so many times when I do something that I hurt myself, because I hurt myself constantly, or I've shut off that part of my brain now where like I just don't react to it anymore, because I find when you react to pain, that's when it feels more painful. So when I was going through the natural birth, I just in my head was like, I know it's gonna be painful, there's no doubt about that, so I can't be scared about it being painful, because I signed myself up for that. I think it was just, I didn't know what the pain was going to feel like. So I knew it was going to be up here, but I didn't I hadn't been through it. So definitely an experience. Like, I feel like a different person from it. I feel way less postpartum depression this time. I don't know if it's because I have another child, so I've been through it all. It's most likely part of it. I also feel that it's from not medicating, honestly, and not having the epidural, and feeling all the emotions you're supposed to feel during labor, and emotions tied into reactions to feeling. So I definitely feel like that I had that experience, and it made so much more relief at the end. There was so much more of what's the word I'm looking for? Euphoric feeling that I feel I didn't have with my first, and I don't think there's things that happened with the first during labor that scared me. So, and that's part of the reason why I went with midwives as well. Yeah, I don't even really want to like go into it too much because I can explain it a little bit more, the actual story of what happened and all that. So yeah, I'm excited to be painting and talking about my birth story. I didn't really know if I wanted this channel to become about like kids and like my children and stuff, which I don't really want to do, but I do think that labor is very interesting, and I think there's like a very heavy spiritual side to it, and I didn't realize that the first time, but now I definitely see it, and so I really want to talk about that. So I'm just gonna jump into it, and we're going to be painting this lovely skull painting. I had a reference that I used, but the head was way too big. Yeah, don't mind my outfit. That's how big it was. So that's the reference that I used. I changed it quite a bit. It was just an illustration I found on Google, but I needed some reference because, I mean, anatomy is just like, you need reference. But I wanted to make it my own. And I am planning to add some more leaves and flowers, I think, because I don't know how I feel about this. I had someone interested in it when it was just at the skull. I was like, I should have left it, but can't because I don't know when to stop. But yeah, so that's that. Cool. Gonna talk now. Don't know when to end the video. So I had my son a day after he was his due date. I will make another video what I did to go into labor because it's a whole other thing. But basically, I started having contractions at 2 a.m. We left the house to go to my mother-in-law's, who lived really close to the hospital with my son. That way, if we had to go to the hospital, we could leave our 3-year-old at my mother-in-law's. And we had to wait till I was 3 minutes apart for contractions, which was crazy because they felt intense the entire time. And even though they actually never were 3 minutes apart, I kind of had to go by my own instinct and be like, no, these are like really painful, and I couldn't really function through them. So I decided when I was about 3 to 5 and sometimes even 8 minutes apart in contractions to go to the hospital, which I was saying to my husband, like as we were going to the car, and I wasn't even making it to the car. I had to stop like pretty frequently, and like they sometimes were really close together, and it was really random. So anyway, we got to the car and I was like, when we get there, I'm going to act like super dramatic so we get into a room right away. And I didn't really have to act. As soon as we got there, I was like, give me a wheelchair, and I couldn't stand. I felt like I couldn't stand, and I just felt like I was going to topple over. So they got me into the triage. Basically, I was 8 centimeters dilated, like, which was exactly happened with Liam. I got to the hospital. They're like, oh, you're ready to go, which was great. And then I got into the labor room, and one thing about the room where everyone was getting triaged is I could hear that they weren't ready, and a lot of women had to go home. So it was kind of a relief that I could go right into the labor room. Basically, I had him standing up. I screamed for my bloody life. I remember looking out the window, and I felt like my eyes were going to pop out of my head at some point. The scariest part, though, the whole thing was they had to break my water, which was not fun. I didn't want to lay down. With Liam, I felt like I didn't want to labor laying down, and I remember it being very painful. So when I laid down to have them break my water, that was very intense, and I did not like it. So then I stood back up, and I did not move from that point on. I was like, I'm standing. This is it. I can't move. He was born, and literally we were at the hospital for 4 hours. I didn't tear. It was an incredible, incredible feeling, and it was very hard. I felt like I was going to combust, but my husband was holding my hand the whole time. The midwives were incredible, in my opinion. A lot of people have bad experiences. I honestly just wouldn't have it any other way. I would definitely do midwives again, mainly because they can allow you to do the positions that work for you. And the standing position for me was the best. I felt like I barely had to push. I remember doing a lot of like different breathing techniques that I had YouTubed. I YouTubed a lot before going to labor. So my suggestion for you, if you're going into labor, if you're going to have a baby soon, really research on YouTube and like hear other people's real stories of what they went through and if whether or not they got an epidural or not. You'll find a lot of people get epidurals, I think, the first time because they're scared, and then the second time they realize like it's still painful with an epidural too. So it can be. For me, it was. So I was like, I might as well just try without it. And honestly, it was a pretty incredible feeling. So that would be my suggestion for you if you're going to have a baby soon. Midwives are great if you're thinking about having midwives. I know some people have a different experience with them. Personally, I thought they were amazing. So I wasn't able to add all the details into this video, but I hope you enjoyed it and enjoyed me painting.